Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Plank Code podcast. I'm Max, today in the back streets of Beijing with Xiao Baozi. Did I mess that up?
You did. I think you did pretty good. Okay. I don't really know tones very well.
I don't even know what I'm saying. What does it mean?
It means little steam bun.
Little steam buns. I'm joined by Little Steam Buns, also known as Sarah. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So Sarah is a member of the Vegans of Beijing. So we're going to be talking about your journey to veganism, being vegan in China, and we'll just see where it goes. So what made you become vegan?
Honestly, I get this question a lot, and I kind of hate it, but I kind of love it at the same time. At first, I became vegan because I wanted to lose weight, which I think is like a practical reason. I don't really like it as much because I think it's very selfish, but... Yeah,
it's the truth though, isn't it? Everyone becomes vegan for selfish reasons at the same time, to start with.
But when I first became vegan, I kind of got really excited because I used to do the keto diet for a long time, and that's pretty much the complete opposite of a vegan diet.
100%.
And so I got really excited to eat a bunch of rice and noodles and like bread and beans.
Fruit?
Yeah. And then I gained 10 pounds.
Did you put butter in your coffee?
No, I never did that because that was just too weird for me.
That just grosses me out. Every time I see people doing that, I'm like, this is the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life.
No, I do put coconut oil in my coffee. Every now and then, sometimes. Not always, because I'm kind of like, that's a lot of oil to have in the morning.
Yeah.
But it does taste surprisingly very good.
But coconut oil is the best thing in the world. Like, you can put it anywhere. You can put it everywhere on everything.
You can?
For like skincare, hair care.
Okay, yeah, I have heard
food,
that.
Cooking, everything.
Mm-hmm. But it's like kind of expensive here, so I also like I've had the same can for like the past 2 years, just simply because I'm like, I don't want to use it all yet. I don't want to order it again.
I'll bring some for you next time. It's super cheap in Dubai, coconut oil.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Maybe I'll start like a business of trafficking coconut oil into.
Next thing we'll know, we'll see you on the Beijinger news.
So what's it like being vegan in Beijing?
It has ups and downs. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's difficult. Like I was explaining to you before, there are so many vegan restaurants here. But I think the most difficult thing, and what I just thought of like while we were having conversation, is finding cruelty-free skincare products.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So for the most part, eating is completely fine. There's a lot of Buddhist like people here. So the whole background of the Chinese population kind of has like a foundation of veganism.
Right, yeah.
Already kind of instilled.
Because I was looking at Happy Cow and I couldn't find that many restaurants. It was mainly like the Western restaurants that were popping up, and usually they're the quite expensive ones. Whereas we just had lunch at an amazing restaurant, by the way. I'll put the link to it down below. It was so cheap. It was like 68 yuan for a
68.
full buffet.
Yeah.
Which is what, like $10 US?
Yeah, about 10.
So
I
good.
think even less than that.
Yeah. And I'm always amazed when I'm in Asia by like the meat replacement products, because they seem to do that so well, and it's like they all came from here, like it'd be the tofu or the seitan. In Asia they cook them so well.
Yeah, I think it was quite surprising when you read the translations, it always says wheat gluten, and for a while it took me time to realize that they meant seitan.
Yeah. Someone's doing his recycling in the background.
Yeah.
I hope he is actually recycling it. So you say it's easy to be vegan in China?
Yeah, I personally think so. I've heard.
'Cause I was terrified of coming here.
Why?
I mean, first of all, everyone talks about getting food poisoning.
Yeah, I did. Most people do get food poisoning when they come to China.
Yeah, and then second of all is like finding vegan options. First of all, because the menus, like it's not always in English. We have this conception that in China everything is like cooked in like beef flavoring and all these kind of things.
Now, I think for the most part, most of it's true. I did realize recently that most of the...
Boys, I had a lot of beers last night.
I guess so. Most of the food actually isn't cooked in like lard. It's cooked in vegetable oil, although they do add a lot of minced meat to the foods, but that's just for flavoring.
Right.
So if you ask them to take it out, you're usually gonna just have vegetable oil.
Okay, that makes sense. It's quite easy.
If you are pretty good at Chinese, you can simply ask them to replace the lard with vegetable oil, and usually they will.
How would I ask someone to do that in Chinese?
I honestly couldn't tell you. Usually, I'm guessing, like, usually I say, like, 不要jiu you, which I, 猪油, yeah, I'm pretty sure I pronounced that wrong as well. My Chinese is fairly not very good. And then I'd ask them, like, 可以 caio, which would mean like vegetable oil. Now, I'm not sure if that's correct or not. I think they get the idea. If
I'm gonna make a video clip out of just that part and just like put it out there so people will be like saving it onto their phones and they'll be like sending it out to people in restaurants.
And then they're gonna be getting like weird looks because they're like, that makes no sense. I have no clue what I know.
Yeah.
Lard should be juyo, which means like pig oil.
Tempting.
But I'm not sure what vegetable oil is. I mean,
I'll see if there's like a vegan guidebook for Chinese.
Yeah.
There's probably is one.
I can send you a picture. We have actually a picture of kind of like a vegan card thing where it's like, I'm vegan, don't add this.
Oh, that's amazing.
This.
Yeah, you'll have to give me that card and I'll put a
Yeah.
link down it for the episode if anyone wants to have that if they are traveling to China. So you say like traditionally, obviously in the Buddhist, I would say religion or faith, they are vegan. And then there was the China study by Dr. Campbell that was like 30 years study. It was an amazing book about how the plant-based diet is healthy and avoid and reverse a lot of diseases. But then in the modern diet, China is seen as like one of the biggest consumers of meat and dairy because they're moving towards the Western diet.
Yes. Now, I don't necessarily think they're moving towards the Western diet. I think it's more looked at, China and like Asia is kind of being looked as new money. All these new generations are popping up and they have money now. And before they didn't, like even 2 generations ago, their family was probably out in the fields like growing rice and things like that, and they didn't have the money to pay for meat. But now you're seeing all these people and they have more money than what they know what to do with.
Okay.
And so before they couldn't afford meat, and now they can have it at every single meal, so why not?
Yeah, and eating meat is considered acceding to a higher social class as well, isn't it?
So yeah, that is actually very true. Like even if you go out to eat, when I first moved to China, I wasn't vegan. And when you would go to the city and you would meet new people, they will buy you the biggest meal.
Yeah.
Like if you have to literally not finish the meal in order to tell them like, I'm full.
That guy's got like a massive lettuce in his basket. I don't know if you saw that, but it's a huge lettuce.
Shiny object.
Yeah, I get so distracted.
This is what vegans find as shiny
Yeah.
objects. Oh, something green.
Ooh, a lettuce. Anyway, yeah, sorry about that. So when you got to China, you obviously weren't vegan.
Yeah.
And people they take you out and they want to give you these huge feasts of a meal that always do contain meat as well, don't they?
Yeah, so like usually when I go out with people now, clearly they don't buy me meat because they're like, they actually have a better understanding of like, oh, she doesn't eat meat than I think most Western people have.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, like, and it could be because of who I hang out with. I have had other people tell me like, people will tell them like, oh, it has a little bit of minced pork that you can eat around.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
It has just a little bit of cheese in it. That's fine, you know.
Most of my friends kind of like, now it's almost as a joke. Like when people try to feed me like non-vegan food, they'll like stop them and be like, oh, no, she doesn't eat this and this. So I definitely think it's more of like they're getting more money, so they're wanting to spend it on meat.
But do you have like Chinese vegan friends as well?
I think I have 3 or 4. Now, most of the ones that I know that are Chinese vegans did spend time outside of China, though.
Okay, yeah.
And the ones that, a lot of the Chinese people I meet that are older generation, they tend to be a lot more religious than the younger generation.
Right. Okay.
So they still eat less meat than the younger generation.
Yeah.
Because they still kind of have the Buddhist ideals. Like, they might not eat meat every single meal, and they might have one meat dish. But still, like, most of the younger generation I know, like, every single meal has meat.
Because, I mean, speaking of younger generation, I mean, you're 17 years old.
Yeah.
So when you talk to another person, a 17-year-old, non-vegan, like, what's their reaction?
How can you do that? I can't live without chicken nuggets. And I'm just like...
I mean, that's not just you. I mean, I'm 10 years older and I get exactly the same answer as you.
I think the other thing is usually like, wow, your parents allow that? Yeah, my parents let me eat vegetables.
Wow, that's so generous of your parents to allow you not to slaughter animals and destroy our planet. That's
yeah. And like, I think also my parents kind of, it's not that they expected it, but like I do cook my own food and stuff as well. I'm quite independent in like when I go grocery shopping. So it didn't affect them as much.
Yeah, I mean, over lunch you were telling me about your love for cooking and what you wanted to do when you grew up.
I'm still wanting that dream, but I don't know just yet. Maybe after Donald Trump gets out of...
Yeah, so what was your dream as a child? Come on, tell us once again. I want to hear it again.
quote unquote, I want to be the personal chef for the United States of America. President of the United States of America.
I've never heard anyone that wants to do that. Would you do that for Donald Trump?
I would. I would love to give him, like, a bean burger instead of, like, McDonald's. I heard he likes to eat Big Macs.
Yeah, he does that a lot. You always see him, like, ordering McDonald's to the White House for his guests and things like that, which is a bit odd.
I do know that my grandma, as a joke, like, because it has come out that his doctor has said that he's gonna, he has perfect health and that he should live up to, like, 100 years old. I'm not sure if that's true or not. I doubt it.
I mean, you just look at the guy. He's obviously not in perfect health. I mean, Donald Trump, if
He's
you are watching this, sorry, but it's time to lose a bit of that belly, you know?
Yeah, and so, but as a joke, my grandma was like, you know, if you stay vegan, like, the only person that's going to be left with you is Donald Trump because he has perfect health. And I was like, I mean, if that's who I'm left with for being vegan, then that's my own consequence, but I'm willing to take it.
Yeah, that'll be a sad ending to the humanity, isn't it, really, to be left on Earth with Donald Trump?
The Donald Trump and the vegan.
Yeah. Yeah. So how do you do it at home then? Like, obviously you say your parents are very supportive of the fact of you being vegan.
Yeah.
And when I talk to a lot of people in high school who are like, yeah, I'd love to be vegan, but I live with my parents and they control what I eat. What would you suggest to these people?
I mean, at first, like, I would have never thought to be vegan.
Yeah.
And I would tell people that. I'm like, nah, I could never be vegan for the same reasons. Like, I loved chicken nuggets. I loved eating out. Almost every single meal I had was meat-based. And I loved dairy. But I started watching, like, shows with my dad. And I started doing my own research. I also found this YouTuber called Kicki.
Okay.
And she's Chinese-German. And I was watching her videos, and it was just more, like, aesthetically pleasing to watch her videos.
Right.
Because she just does, like, what I eat in a day, and she, like, cuts it all perfect, and it's so pretty.
Yeah.
And so I started looking more into it, and the more research I did, I was like, this is a pretty good diet, and it makes sense, like, why to be vegan. So I think, honestly, parents are going to want more facts over opinions. Like, nobody wants to listen to, like, the 17-year-old be like, your diet's unhealthy. But they'll listen to the doctor that did a 30-year research on it.
Yeah, I suppose no one likes to be told that what they're doing is unhealthy or what they're doing is unethical as well, because there is the aspect of enslaving and killing animals that no one wants to support. But then when you say, well, stop eating meat would be a great first step, people don't really want to go in that direction, do they?
I think also being very encouraging about it.
Yeah.
I never go up to someone, of course, and be like, your diet is unhealthy.
Yeah.
I'm always saying how, personally, I feel much better on a vegan diet. Because people are like, would you ever eat meat again? And honestly, I don't think I would. Like, yeah, it tastes good, but, like, my body and my mental health is so much better since being vegan as well. And I think putting it into a more positive way rather than a negative enforcement works so much better. And my parents are teachers as well, and that's how they teach kids. Is
With
like,
positive reinforcement, yeah. Do people kind of, like, when they look at you, do they know you're vegan?
Yes, usually they do. I mean, like, I show up with a longboard. I mean, I'm white, I'm a teen, I live in China. I kind of, like, dress a certain way as well.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't dress too vegan today, I don't think. I dress pretty normal, but, like, usually I have, like, the, like, weird dad tops and things like that. And I just think, like, a lot of people just, like, automatically assume, like, I'm vegan, and then they do. So, which, I mean, I don't mind. I kind of like it now because I'm like, yeah, if that's what you associate with me, then that's, like, a good thing in my opinion.
Yeah. But don't you think, like, it kind of gives that idea that veganism isn't accessible if you don't fit that mold as well?
Yeah, it definitely is that type of one standard mold. And I think breaking out of that mold is very important in today's age. Especially, like you said, accessible. I think a lot of people think that it's not accessible to be vegan. And a lot of people in my family, like, have given me that excuse or that concept is, like, I can't be vegan because I don't think I can get this, or, like, I don't think I could afford this. But veganism can be open to anybody.
Yeah.
As long as you have the mental state of, like, I want to change my lifestyle, then you're going to change your lifestyle.
Yeah, I mean, it's very easy as long as you're willing to make that effort. I mean, it's a whole re-education, isn't it, of how you approach food and how you approach life. So how do you apply veganism beyond food in your day-to-day?
For me, it's kind of like breaking out of a mold of wanting to just do something better for the planet and myself. Like, I don't look at not eating meat as, like, a big change in my life. I've looked at it as this small change that I can do.
Yeah.
So
is that why you do it?
I think now it's such there's so many reasons why I'm vegan.
Yeah.
That it's difficult to grasp.
What would you say your top 3 reasons of being vegan are?
Definitely health. I've noticed that just not even in the way that mentally as well. I've just been so much healthier since being vegan. The cruelty-free part about it, I actually am so against the way that people approach veganism and activism on showing the videos of what happens in slaughterhouses, just because it makes me so uncomfortable to even think about. And so just getting that whole cruelty-free thing out of my life is definitely a main
So you don't
part.
even see the footage of it?
No.
I mean, you don't have to see it because you don't contribute to it, so
Yeah.
that makes sense. At least you're not a hypocrite in that sense as well.
Yeah. And then I think the third reason would have to be religious reasons, which
Okay.
always surprises people.
Yeah, that surprises me as well. So how do you bring in the religious aspect to it?
Well, for me, I'm Christian, which is why it surprises people, because for most Christians, you're grown up with the idea of there is no dietary restriction, and nobody ever when you think of dietary restrictions when it comes to religions, obviously you go to Buddhists or Muslims, those kind of religious, but never Christians. So I think the way that I apply it is kind of God put us in this mindset and this we have the knowledge and the capability of taking care of the planet, and he told us to take care of it. That's why Adam and Eve were created, is we're supposed to take care of the garden. And now the garden is kind of dying, so we're kind of needing to take care of it. And when you contribute to the dairy and the meat industry, then you're a part of that problem, and you're not doing I see it as I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be here on the planet for, which is to take care of it and be the leader of it.
Yeah, the caretaker. I mean, it is about the interpretation of those texts and how you choose to see it, and you've obviously taken a more compassionate and, in my opinion, a lot more reasonable, and that makes sense. I mean, why would a creator want us to destroy his creation?
Exactly. And especially, I like how you say, the creator wanted to destroy his creation. God also says, our body is a temple. So, when you look at it into the health perspective, when you eat dairy, when you eat meat, when you eat all those products, it's harmful to your body as well.
Yeah.
And I've become so much healthier since being vegan. So if I were to go back to eating meat, my body would become unhealthy again, and therefore I'm not treating my body as the temple.
Yeah, people are treating their bodies more as trash cans than as temples these days.
Yeah.
So also you're one of the members of Vegans of Beijing.
Yes.
Which, if you didn't figure out, that is where we are, in this backstreets of Beijing. I like saying that. I'm going to call it backstreets of Beijing this episode.
It's just making me think of Backstreet Boys.
Maybe they're here.
Are they? I wouldn't be surprised if some random celebrity was in Beijing. The Rock was here a couple weeks ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Doing what?
I have no idea. I'm in an expat group chat, and one of the admins was obsessed with The Rock.
Yeah?
So she knows every single time he's in China.
Is he vegan?
Wasn't he looking into it?
I think so.
At one point?
There was definitely rumors about it.
I have no idea.
It'd be amazing if he went vegan. I mean, he obviously has an impact on so many people.
And he's the standard for fit bod.
Yeah, but Arnold Schwarzenegger's been talking about veganism a lot recently. About the whole myth around meat and animal protein and stuff like that. So I mean, if he's on board, then it's the way to go.
Yeah.
So about the Vegans of Beijing, what kind of stuff are you guys trying to do?
So at the moment, what we do is we have a couple of WeChat groups. And if you don't know what WeChat is, it's pretty much just all the social medias put into one. Like Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. You can even pay with everything.
Really?
Yeah, you can, I just topped up my mobile because I ran out of data on the way here just through WeChat.
Wow. Yeah, because I downloaded it just to talk to you. I'd never used it before. But you can use it in the same way as you can do stories.
Yes. That's what I was just doing a second ago, as I was recording to still oh, we're doing a podcast today.
That's so cool.
And so we have a couple communities. You can only have up to 500 members in a group chat. So at the moment we have 3, and then we have a Chinese group as well. And throughout that we have about 1,000 members.
Wow.
Yeah. And so what we do is once a month we try to do 2 different events. We try to do a movie screening, which could be movies say, I actually don't know like any of the vegan movies because I've never
like Cowspiracy, Earthly.
Yeah, like Cowspiracy.
Yeah, What the Health.
I think the only one that I've watched was Forks Over Knives.
Okay.
And so we do things like that once a month, and then you have a discussion afterwards.
Right.
And it's really cheap too. Like it's only 30 kwai, and you also get a drink. And usually, if you go to a cafe here, it costs 30 kwai to get a drink anyway. So it works out pretty well.
Cheap entertainment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and some knowledge.
And then we also try to do an outreach. I'm gonna say meal. Before it was dinner, but we did a brunch like 2 months ago. We've done lunches before. And what we do with that is we basically find either restaurants come to us or we go to them. At first we were going to them clearly because they didn't know who we were. Now actually surprisingly they're coming to us, which is kind of like a pat on the back for us because we're like, oh, finally they're working.
Yeah.
And what we do is we find a restaurant. Either they already have vegan options that people may not know about, or they have options that could be easily made vegan, like say like taking cheese off and then adding something else, and then just like redesigning their menu to where like they could put like a V or something, and then we'll have like a dinner there, and that's like the event.
Do you get a lot of non-vegans that come to these events?
Usually they actually are non-vegan. I would say like 50 to 60% of them are non-vegan.
That's really good outreach because that's what you want, isn't it? I mean, you organize these dinners for vegans, it's great. People get to come together, meet like-minded people, but you want to get that outreach of getting non-vegans here as well. And we have another very interesting bicycle going by.
I think the most interesting thing about that as well is like even Saturday, I had people over to taste test some recipes that I'm wanting to try for an event that I want to personally do. And I think out of like there's like 20 people over my house, and I think 3 of them were vegan.
Wow.
And the rest of them were eating it, and they were like, it was like pancakes and things like that. And they were like, this is really good. I had even one guy come up to me and he was like, I'm shocked by this vegan food. And so I think they just get this misconception that like vegan food doesn't taste good.
Yeah, people expect it to be bland and boring, don't they? But I think if you can pprovide options, and you're doing a lot with that as well. You were talking about some of the items that you want to put on a menu. You were talking about limoncello and...
oh yeah, limoncello and mint fruit salad.
Sounds so good. I mean, it's kind of funny that you're like dabbling in making alcoholic meals at the age of 17, but that's fine. Do you try them?
I do try them with my parents' permission. So
Okay,
my parents are there the whole time. They are watching me.
Yeah.
They do monitor it. So.
That's sensible. I mean, to be fair, like I have a lot of respect that you're, first of all, cooking at 17, and you're doing vegan cooking, and you're cooking with alcohol. It's amazing. Like, it's incredible.
My parents are going to watch this, and then my mom always does the beep beep. She's gonna be like, "Oh, you just ran me under the bus."
Yeah, I'll cut that out for her. No, I won't.
It's all right.
No, I mean, I think it's great that your parents do support you in what you're doing. I mean, even if they aren't vegan, the fact that they're willing to give you the space and the creativity to do what you can and to cook at home and to be the one that chooses what you eat. They don't force their education, their opinions on you.
I think like what's been interesting is at first like my parents like they didn't really eat the vegan food with me, but then like at one point I was like, okay, sit down, we're gonna have a vegan meal because I want you to at least try it. And they were like, okay. And at first I did the wrong approach where I tried to make everything like the healthy vegan ones, like protein keto brownies, which were like avocado and cocoa powder, and it just did not come out nice.
Yeah.
But then I started just doing like normal recipes, like substituting mince in shepherd's pie with like mung beans.
Okay.
But then what I would do is I wouldn't just season it like a normal meat. I would take, I did this for St. Patrick's Day where I took red wine and I mixed it with bay leaves and rosemary, and I let it simmer and cook for a while, and then it creates a different flavor than what you would normally get with meat.
Okay, interesting.
And so putting forth a different idea into their heads rather than, like, so I told them, like, don't look at it as meat, look at it as mung beans.
Yeah, because it's true, if you're trying to replace it, you're never going to get exactly the same, are you?
Yeah.
Whereas if you show it something different, then people can appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
As healthy, nutritious, if it is, or if it's not, then it's not. Because I see there's like a big debate about the plant-based burgers, like the Beyond Meat burger, the Impossible burger. People are like, but that's not healthy. It's like, well, you don't go and eat a hamburger to be healthy, do you? Anyway, like, no one does that. Yeah, you want junk food, you want junk food. I think she wants to join us.
Maybe.
I think she just said, I love the Beyond Meat burger.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
There was actually an article that came out recently that the Vegans of Beijing have been talking about. I haven't read it yet, but China does have like a lot of mock meats, like tons of it. Like there's a market, I think like 30 minutes away from here, that is just like you walk in, it's 2 stories full of just Chinese mock meats.
Whoa.
Yes. So they definitely enjoy their mock meats. They're not afraid from them.
Yeah.
But I haven't read it yet, but Beyond Meat might be coming to China somehow soon.
And you tried Beyond Meat, didn't you?
Yes, I tried it recently in South Africa, and it was exactly what I was expecting in good and bad ways. Like, everybody I've met has always said it tastes just like meat. And so I was thinking, like, yeah, it tastes just like meat. And then I ate it, and I was like, oh, my gosh, this tastes just like meat.
And then you start to get paranoid and freak out a little bit, don't you?
Yeah. So I never, someone made a point to me before, like, you never eat meat because of the way that meat tastes. You eat it because of the seasonings you use. So I don't mind eating mock meats just simply because, they do taste like meat. I like that. I like the flavor. But it's because of the seasonings they use. It's not because of the texture. It's not because I like the way that plain chicken breast tastes like or something.
Yeah, if you like the taste of meat, you'd eat it raw.
But you don't.
But you don't. Do you? No.
You marinate it for like hours and then you cook it for
deep fry it and
things like that. But then when I had the Beyond Meat burger, it had like a super similar texture. That's when it like put me off. I was like, oh no, this is too close.
Yeah, your
too
taste
real.
buds do change, don't you? And even like a lot of my friends who've tried it, they've had like digestion issues after it. They've struggled to digest it because of, I don't know, whatever reasons. So yeah, you do kind of get used to eating a lot lighter foods when you're on like a vegan diet.
Yeah, I can't eat vegan cheesecakes because of the way that the cashew content is so full of fat that it actually hurts my stomach now. It's too heavy.
Okay.
My family loves them.
Yeah.
But like I can't do it.
Do you make them or?
No, I remember for my 16th birthday I ordered a raw cheesecake, like chocolate cake, and my whole family loved it, and it was like really expensive, and I felt really bad because I had like 2 bites.
No way.
And I was like, this is really good.
That sucks. You can't even eat your own birthday cake.
And then I was like, this hurts my stomach so bad.
But it's saving the animals.
Yes, it is saving the animals. And my family loved it. They finally got over the idea of like desserts can never be vegan.
I find desserts is the hardest one to find, and I think that's why a lot of people do lose weight when they go vegan, is because like you cut out all the desserts, the sweet stuff, because it all contains egg or dairy in it.
Yes. But there are like quite a lot of sweets that can super, like, it's very easy to make them vegan.
Yeah.
Like my mom, her favorite thing to do is bake. And so for like Christmas, she'll make like brownies, banana bread, cookies, more cookies, then another type of cookie. And she brings it in for all of her co-teachers, all of her co-workers, things like that. Like we'll have people over and it's just like we'll have a whole like table just designated to like 20 different things that my mom baked.
Wow.
And over time, like, of course, I've been sitting there and I'm like, Mom, this is killing me because those are my favorite things to eat. And we've figured out that, like, half the stuff tastes either exactly the same vegan or even better.
Banana bread's so easy to do.
Yes. Yeah. My mom, she always, like, it's funny because we've had people try both and she tastes the difference, but literally every other person that's tried it is like, there's literally no difference here. Yeah. What do you mean?
But if you tell them, like, okay, this is a vegan one, and this is a non-vegan one, people are going to start, like, they're going to have this misconception from the get-go about the vegan one. But, yeah, it doesn't taste as good because it's vegan.
Yeah. Now, when people come over, at first they always just assumed it was non-vegan. But over time, like, they've kind of figured out that my mom and I have been sneaking, like, vegan food into their diet.
Do they feel betrayed?
They don't. They're just, like, more interested.
Yeah.
I think that's been the greatest thing is, since being vegan, I rarely actually get negative reactions from it.
Okay.
Like
the food that you cook, or
not even the food that I cook, just overall. Like I get teased, but I never say like I get made fun of or like have people have issues with me.
What do people say to you?
They're just like they just expect it, or like it also I guess is the way that I look at things is because like sometimes people will be eating meat in front of me and they'll like tease me about it. Like I went to a friend's birthday party, I want to say Saturday night, and it was a Brazilian all-you-can-eat buffet, like, barbecue.
Oh, yeah.
And they, like, pull out it, and it's, like, in this huge skewer, like, swords with, like, meat, and they cut it off for you, and, like, you pick it off. And they were all, like, kind of, like, teasing me. It was just kind of, like, a funny joke. I was more just, like, amazed by how savage it all looked.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is so weird, but you guys have your fun, because it just doesn't bother me when people do that in front of me. And so it's just kind of always been just like a little joke to like everyone. Like I sat there with my tea and I was happy.
Yeah, I suppose more and more people at least know what it means now to be vegan as well. It's becoming more accepted. And I think especially our generation, I don't know if we are the same generation anymore.
I don't think so.
No, we're not the same generation. I'm old now.
I think even people that are like 25 are the different generation.
Yeah, I mean, your what's your generation called? Generation Z?
Yeah, I think
X?
Z something.
Because I'm a millennial.
Yeah, you're a millennial. I always get made fun of. They think people make fun of me as a millennial because they're like, oh, you're the classic millennial, like avocado toast vegan. I'm like, I'm not even in that age group.
You're just mature.
But I think definitely in my age, like a lot of people feel like Americans are very vegan, which we're not. Actually, I think like when you go to America, there's a lot of vegan options because people are curious.
There's just a lot of food in America.
Yeah.
Overall, there's just a lot of everything.
And I think with my generation, we're more just curious than actually wanting to like go into the vegan lifestyle. But I think that's good. Curiosity is a great start to changing perspectives.
I do think you have to question everything. From everything that you do and everything you've been taught, you have to question it. And I think even, we were talking about religion earlier, even in religion it says question your faith, question the way that you eat, the way that you see life as well. I think it's great to have that, be able to take a step back from what you do and the way you think and be like, is this actually the right thing to do? Yeah.
It took me a while to kind of like decide to actually go vegan.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even because of like, it's just the way that I was grown up. It's just, and like I did a lot of research about keto and things like that, and that seemed like the healthiest diet to me. But then over time, like I thought about it and I was like, how is eating pure fat healthy for me? Like I was getting the results. Like I was losing weight. I was getting close to those like abs, and I was like, this looks cool. And then I was thinking to myself, how is eating chicken breasts and butter and eggs all day long healthy for me?
But it's not sustainable though, is it? I mean, that's the thing, it's a diet. It's something that you're going to do for like a few weeks, a few months, a year maybe. But I don't know, to be sustainably keto for like the rest of your life.
Yeah, that would never happen. I like noodles too much.
Yeah. Whereas that's the thing people often say, like, I considered going vegan, but I chose the keto diet instead.
Yeah.
Like, those are two things you can't really compare, because one is a lifestyle and one is just purely a diet to lose weight as well.
Yeah, a lot of people think that when I first became vegan, like, it was just going to be, like, a couple months.
Yeah.
And then when you become vegan, like, I told my friend the other day, like, I was, like, as I grow as a vegan, and he's like, what do you mean grow as a vegan?
Like a plant.
Yeah, it's just like you learn more things about yourself while you become a vegan. You learn different things about the world and the community that you live in as you become vegan. And I think it's also kind of funny because like what I was explaining is like at first when I was vegan, I was like, nobody should know. Like this is such a dark secret that I have.
Really?
Yeah, I was like so scared. And then like I'd be sitting and I'd be like, I wouldn't be eating anything, and then people are like, why aren't you eating? And I'm like, I'm vegan. And then they're like,
you're an apologetic.
Yeah. And they were like, why did you tell us this? And I'm like, I was scared. Like I even remember I went to like a church retreat and they asked for the dietary restrictions, and I only made one comment. I was like vegan, and then I show up to the church retreat and they literally had nothing I could eat. Like the youth pastor thought that vegan was just a fancy word for vegetarian. And so, and then that's kind of when it hit me, like, I do have to let people know. And there's no problem with that. Like, it's okay to be vegan. Why am I hiding that I don't support these type of industries, that I'm choosing a healthier
lifestyle? It is
lifestyle?
the world on its head, isn't it? You have to apologize for not supporting cruelty and destroying our planet. I mean, it's a really weird way to see it. So, as you are young and you are the future of our planet, it's all on your shoulders now.
No pressure.
Actually, I can't put that responsibility on you. I think I still have to do my part as well. But where do you see the future of our planet?
I'll wait for this car to pass and then I'll answer.
Maybe it's on a bicycle.
Yeah. Well, actually, yes. That is a very good point. Honestly, the way that it's going at the moment, I actually see a bright future for people. I see it like I was saying, a lot of people are curious. When you become curious, like you're gonna start reading more, you start listening more. Like even you said that you got 1,000 listens on your Spotify thing recently on your podcast.
On the past month,
And that just shows
Thank you guys for listening to the Plank Co podcast. We love you.
But like, it just shows that people are listening more. Like, they're wanting to understand what's going on. And even like most of the time when I get, like, I don't get negative reactions from people, I get curious reactions, because they're like, how can you do that? Like, how do you live being vegan? And you know that's coming from a side of where they're curious as to, like, they're making, like, they're teasing it, but there has to be a reason for why they're teasing about that. It's because they also want to know.
Yeah.
And so I think the more people understand about veganism, the more it's going to go to that. So I can see in the future, like, there's even research that say by like 2050, like, all meat will be replaced by like mock meats. Now, I don't necessarily.
Well, they said by the year 2000 we'd be living on a different planet. That never happened as well.
Yeah. So I don't think it'd be that progressive. I think the rate that we're going, we're definitely making a change. There's a movement that's happening, and it's not necessarily gonna. The way that it's happening is, I feel we also need to slightly change our perspective as vegans. I know a lot of bitter vegans as well, which, I mean, I never agree with being apologetic about being vegan. There's no reason, but I think we also, as vegans, need to be more positive, like I was saying. I think the more that we're just offering a more loving perception of veganism, that'll help a lot. Like, a lot of my friends ask, they're like, I can never be vegan. I'm like, okay, that's fair. You think in your head you can never be vegan. Go one day without eating meat a week. Going one day without eating meat a week can help a lot more in the long run.
Yeah, and it's getting that snowball started, isn't it? It's get the ball rolling in the right direction. That's what you really want to do for people as well. But do you think we'll ever have a 100%, let's say, plant-based world?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think that would be possible. Because I think, like I was saying with my religion, like, I do also agree with moderation. And I think with everything, like, there needs to be a balance. And so, like we were discussing, like, it doesn't need to be a reason, like, at the moment, there's no reason why we need to be eating animals. Like, there actually isn't. And now that you said that, like, I really did just sit and think, and like, oh yeah, you're right. There is no reason why we need to be eating meat.
For me, it is extremely simple. It's like, if we don't have to do it, we don't have to kill animals. Why do we do it? And for me, taste isn't a big enough justification for the continuous onslaught of animals.
Mm-hmm. And so, like, at the moment, like, I can see us all stopping, but like, I don't think there'll ever be 100% like a vegan, like, population, just simply because, like, there's always going to be selfishness, and like, there's always a thing in the Bible where there's always going to be the poor, and there's always, like, everybody is sinful, like, bringing religion into it. And so, like, even if we had, like, the perfect world, the world's never going to be perfect. So therefore, none of us will ever be vegan. Like, all of us.
Right.
None of us.
Because it's true, even if we see in, like, the Western world, in the US, in Europe, the meat consumption, dairy consumption is reducing. Like, those industries losing money. But then you look at India and China, it's actually on the rise, because that middle class is rising and people are getting access to these products that they didn't necessarily have in the past. So it is a tough one, especially to see in these emerging countries. I mean, I don't even know where we'd even start with that. But I mean, I think everyone has to start with their own plate. Like, you sit down 3 times a day in front of your plate. You can choose what you put on that. You can choose cruelty and destroying our environment, or you can choose to have a better impact on your health, the environment, and the animals.
Yeah. I do always tell people, like, I don't see the whole world changing vegan anytime soon. I do think that we're, like, all kind of doomed in a sense, but, like, I always do tell people, and I told you earlier, like, that's not on my conscience, though. Like, I always tell people, like, it starts with you. Like, it starts with one person.
True.
So, like, if you look at it, like, I met a person, like, 6 months ago, and that's what he told me. The same thing is, he's like, their world is pretty much to, like, shambles anyway, so why would I change my lifestyle?
Well, they always say we're going towards Judgment Day anyway, indeed, whatever it's going to happen eventually.
So it's like, to me, it's like, I don't see the reason to contribute to a problem that I don't have to contribute to.
It's pretty simple, isn't it? So on a closing note, if you could speak to directly, let's say, all the 17-year-old non-vegans out there that want to go vegan, what would you say to them?
I say, honestly, just test your boundaries. Like, it seems so intimidating at first. Like, when I came home and I told my parents, like, I want to be vegan, I thought they were going to say no. And they said okay. Because as long as you're proving, like, if you're showing them research, if you're showing them that you're okay, you show them that you're in the right head and the state of mind to become vegan, like they're not going to say no to you eating vegetables. If they do say no, then start with little things. Like if they, like maybe when your mom serves you dinner, like eat half that chicken breast instead of the whole one. Like usually, like my parents, like growing up, they'd be like, you have to finish all your meat or like all your food. Like just tell them like no. And it's like that simple as like you are able to say no to things.
Yeah.
And I think just a lot of people, I think it's also a mental thing, is like there's gonna be a lot of people around you that aren't necessarily gonna judge you, but they're gonna be confused. Because I have even adults that are confused on how I'm vegan. And I'm like, it's all mental. If you're wanting to do something, you're gonna do it, like I said before.
And we do have that fear of other people's opinion. And that stops us from doing so much in our lives, be it going vegan or following our dreams of whatever it is. And I think it's something we need to put behind, because if you're focusing on other people's opinion, first of all, you don't actually know what another person's opinion is. You don't actually know what they're thinking. And second of all, they're not actually going to waste that much time thinking about you anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to waste more time worrying than they're going to waste judging you.
Yeah. I used to like, I think the biggest thing that's like shown, what's been shown to me in the past year is I do go to a Bible study almost every single Friday, and it's all high schoolers that go to my church. And the first couple of weeks, I didn't even bring up that I was like I brought up that I was vegan, but I never really, I was just like, no, it's okay. Like I'll have like the cucumbers that are there, or like I'll have like the bread, because my youth group leader at the time was Russian, so she would make like bread and stuff, and that was vegan, so like I'd eat that, or like I just want to eat. And to me, like I was kind of like normal about it, but then it just kind of shows like the more that you like the person gets to know you, like they'll also change for you. So like now my youth group leader, like every single time, like they'll make something vegan. Like last week it was a lentil curry.
Nice.
And so, and when you go to the camp retreat now, there was like a whole section that was just vegan foods.
And the others will try it as well.
Yeah, like some people were coming up and they were like, can I have this just because like the line is too long? And even if the line's too long, I'm just like, wait till all the vegan people eat. There's only 2 of us, but like there's 10 pastas. But like, so I think it just kind of shows like people get interested once they learn more about it. And so like at first they were kind of like, what does she mean she's vegan? And then they got to know me, and they tease me for it still, but it's in a way of like they're curious.
And how do you react to the teasing?
Oh, I just go along with it. I think it's so easy to make fun of vegans.
Yeah, of course,
and like I mean, like we are weird.
Yeah,
like,
I make fun of vegans all the time. I think it's funny. You have to be able to laugh at yourself as well.
Yeah, and I think like if you show that like playful side of veganism, where it's like, yeah, you can laugh at me, we can laugh at each other, like it's all cool, then it shows them like a different side of it, and it shows how it can be like anybody can be vegan.
And if you're able to laugh and make fun of yourself, you're also removing some of their arguments. So if they see that it's actually offensive to you, they might continue or think, oh, I can actually pick on this person. But if you're actually making the jokes about yourself anyway, then they've got nothing to throw at you, you know?
Yeah.
I think it's the best way. Like humor is a great way to bring across a message of compassion and love as well, especially with veganism.
Yeah. I think just overall, especially like just as a teen, I think just showing people that you're able to do something that goes against their ideas.
Yeah.
Because I think most people, when they think of teens, like they think of us as like these unhealthy people that just eat chips and drink soda all day and things like that. And so just showing them a different idea of what a teenager can look nowadays also is like, that's a proud moment for me. Is like I'm breaking also the mold of what people assume teenagers to be. And I think teenagers nowadays are so much more influential, and we're wanting to make a change. And so if you're able to stick to your roots and do that without listening to other people, that really shows like not even your generation, but the generations above you.
Yeah, I mean, it is amazing what you see today. I think it's especially thank you to the internet as well, like, because you have an access to knowledge through Google, I mean, obviously you don't have the same social media here as you do in the rest of the world, but you have access to it, and you can really gain knowledge. Before, you just had to believe what your parents told you, you know, believe whatever was said, because that was the way that people gain knowledge. Now, I mean, especially your generation, like you don't trust anything, you know. It's like you're gonna double check every single fact, and it's good.
Yeah.
It broadens your horizons, and you see other perspectives for it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's hope for the world.
Yeah.
With time to come.
I think there's a lot that's changing, and I'm excited to see what happens in the future.
Cool. On that note, Sarah, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
On the back streets of Beijing. I'm just going to keep saying that because I just like saying it. In the back streets of Beijing once again. So tune in next week for another episode of the... Hello, how are you? Thank you. Tune in next week for another episode of the Plank Co podcast. I don't know where I'll be. I don't know who it'll be with. So tune in next week. Sarah, have a great day.
You too.
And no, I don't know any Chinese words to end that with, so... 谢谢.
That works perfect.
There we go. I'll end on a 谢谢.
That's the year that they're saying's our last. Unless we make a change now when we gotta be fast. But first we gotta make a shift in what we put in our mouths. These silly billies thinking vegans eating grass from the ground. We talking fast food, yo, it's burgers and fries. And it used to hurt the earth and the birds in the sky. But now they making it with plants and it's so much better. Cause the animals are safe, no more changes in the weather. We better act fast cause the ice barely freezing. The world's changing quick, so welcome to Planet Vegan. Woo! Damn man, can you feel that? This place is getting hot. If we wanna save the world, it'll take some work. If you wanna make it better, then take off your shirt, wave it round your head, and jump into the streets. The revolution starts now. Can you feel its heartbeat? If we wanna save the world, man, we better be quick. Cause we're killing all the piggies and the cows and the chicks. And I gotta be honest, I ain't a fan of our fate. But we can make a change now and it starts on our plates. All around the world, it's a brand new dance. What you're making out of bodies, yeah, we're making out of plants. We gotta save the pigs and the fishes in the sea. So hold on to your pants, Planet Vegan soon to be. There's a change up in the system, I can feel it in the air. But it benefits us all, there's no need to be scared. We're gonna change the world and we'll do it in a day. So don't fight the future, Planet Vegan's here to stay. If we wanna save the world, it'll take some work. If you wanna make it better, then take off your shirt, wave it round your head, and jump into the streets. The revolution starts now. Can you feel its heartbeat? If we wanna save the world, man, we better be quick. Cause we're killing all the piggies and the cows and the chicks. And I gotta be honest, I ain't a fan of our fate. But we can make a change now and it starts on our plates.
Massive forest fires have once again decimated the Californian coastline.
Iceland just held a funeral for the first glacier ever lost in the country's history due to warming weather patterns.
Europe was just hit with the hottest temperatures in recorded history.
Thousands of people are already dying every year from climate change related issues, and this number is expected to rise exponentially over the coming decade.
Okay, this apocalyptic nightmare is about to be real. Forest fires, oceans flooding, let it fill you with fear. A billion refugees running across the borders in pain, and they're drowning while you're saying you're refusing to change. Slaughterhouses filled with bodies and they're letting out screams, but you're saying it's a lie, that it's only a dream. Let me tell you something, man, the nightmare is real, and you're paying for it daily with your supersized meal.